Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chilling Neigh Podcast, your premier VGC podcast. My name is Rashil, aka Conkeldonk VGC, and I'm joined by my co-host Tommy and Sableye VGC. What is up, guys?
What is up, indeed? I think I did the exact same thing last week, but I'm gonna run with it again anyways. So hopefully you guys are all doing well.
Oh my god, dude! I was at a bachelor party this weekend having a blast. Every time I was on like Twitter and the Ubers and stuff, seeing everyone playing Pokemon this weekend was so cool. The locals and everything. There was like so much going on. So what's up, everyone? I hope you had a great weekend. I had a blast just having fun, taking off from playing Pokemon. I hope if you didn't play Pokemon, you had a blast doing something else too. But to all those who played Pokemon this weekend, shout out to you for tweeting about it because it was fun to follow along. And the Lille regional was very cool. I really enjoyed that it was on at 3 a.m. So that what's it called? I'm an early bird. I wake up like 7:30 every morning. So I was up early anyway. I was like, yo, let me throw this on. And the people at the bachelor party were like, what are we watching? Hey, don't worry about it. That's my friend Taryn. We're rooting for Taryn.
Yeah, no, I I love that there was so much Pokemon going on this weekend, and there we have a lot to talk about. We have Sacramento
Yep.
and Lille regionals that happened since we last talked, but also just like so many locals that happened, and a couple MSSs. So just great to see the Pokemon community like thriving and just having like so many events for people to go to again. Love, love, love to see it.
Yep.
Um, so let's dive on in. So first, kind of right after we had talked last time, Sacramento came up, and first of all, congratulations to Michael Zhang winning with a pretty unique team.
Yeah.
So it was um, Fluttermane,
He's a cool
Hisuian
dude too.
Arcanine, Rillaboom, T-Tar, Terra Psychic T-Tar with Terra Blast,
Yep.
Yeah.
Iron Defense, Body Press Como, and Iron Bundle.
See, Komodo is heat. I think Komodo is
Yeah,
an incredible meta call.
Yeah. No,
that was,
incredible. And
Just off the finals
it's just
alone.
unbelievable.
Like, look at the finals, and Riley's team is straight up
All physical.
5 physical attackers and an Amoonguss. Iron
yep.
Defense Komodo probably farmed 90% of that matchup. And then probably other 90 other matchups just similar to that. Just you sit there. It's amazing.
Have you guys
Yeah,
ever
it was
played Michael
crazy.
at a regional?
I have not.
No, I've never played him.
Oh, I
No.
got the chance, dude. I played Michael at a regional. He kicked my butt. I was just like, oh, he's a gamer. He's a cool dude. He's a gamer. So shout out to Michael for real, for real.
First, I want to say props to Tommy for not swearing and saying "kick my butt." Love that.
I don't have to cut
And
the video.
and second, I think yeah, it was an incredible meta call. I was at Sacramento and we were watching the finals, and we were saying like before the finals, I was like, Riley, first of all, is an absolute cracked
Fire.
player. He's made three
On fire.
straight top cuts and has gone. He has won. He got top four or top eight, I think, at
Yeah,
Peoria,
yeah.
and then he got
Second here.
second at this one. So just incredible. And he had five physical mons and a Mungus, like you said, so he had like no matchup
To the
into Iron
Komodo.
Defense Body Como. And there's such a physical like lean for the meta right now. There are like no good special attackers. There's like Fluttermane, Dango, Armarouge,
The problem
and
right now
Heatran.
is what I'm finding is all the good special attackers that you really want to be
Mhm.
utilizing on your team are like super frail or inaccurate. So like Bundle
Yes.
right now is in a
Yeah.
very good spot in the metagame. The problem with Bundle
Mm.
is if I want to click that Hydro Pump, I'm
Yep.
clicking Hydro Pump. I don't really want to click that. Even Icy Wind's not even 100% accurate. People have been trying to run
Yep.
really bulky Bundle to kind of counteract that. Is it worth it? Who really knows? Fluttermane itself is also pretty frail. Despite building bulky, you still go down to like super effective hits, right? And
Yep.
then there's only so many bulky ones that don't require like immense amount of speed control. Like Goldango's pretty good, but it's finding the right amount of speed control for Goldango teams right now is very difficult.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Definitely agree. I think like it's a cool team that Michael used because like I think it complemented like its pieces so well with like the Hisuian Arcanine for Intimidate, and then the T-Tar giving the Sand boost actually to the special defense boost to Arcanine also
Yeah.
just AV T-Tar being so good into like Flutter Chi stuff, even into Bundle, like it eats those super effective hits and just deals damage back. And then Terra Psychic, Terra Blast, a cool call, just hitting like Urshifu's and stuff like that.
And if I remember correctly, it
So
was actually really fast, right? Like it was a very
Yeah,
fast T-Tar.
I think it was a fast T-Tar, yeah. And he wasn't
it was
actually the only
running.
player to play this team. So Donald Smith
Yeah.
used this
Shout out,
team
a
on
homie.
stream as well, and he just missed out on top 16. He bubbled. He was 17th, but
Unfortunate.
two really solid performances
Yeah.
from this team. The other so on the other side of the finals match, so this team, as we kind of talked about a little bit, five physical mons. But what was really cool was so I had been playing Pow Knight for a while, as a lot of people know, and I knew that it was an extremely good spot in the meta just because Dragonite hit a lot for super hard, and it was pretty good against Firewater Grass Core because it's not really gonna hit
Hmm.
Dragonite for much. What's really cool adaptation that Riley did was he went AV his Dragonite so that
Instead of
he could.
band. Yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
Instead of the band.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of the band, and so that he could switch up his moves, and he had like other just physical mons around it that took advantage of the Qianpao and were just doing so much damage to teams. So curious on your thoughts on with no real special attackers and how it got so far,
I
and kind of your thoughts on those adaptations going
As
forward.
a Dragonite hater, Tommy, can I start with this one?
I just want to say it was inner focus too. So usually you see Solfest with multi skill. I thought inner focus was interesting, but yeah, go ahead. Go.
Okay,
Go. Go.
so
Go.
the
That's
way I
just
look at this
what I
is
really know.
basically that Riley was using Dragonite rather than a nuke, but like more of along the lines of, hey, let me get really good coverage for my team. Let me get really good
Mm.
damage besides Shenpao anyways. I don't necessarily need to be taking the knockouts if I'm just doing
Yeah,
enough.
what knockouts was he missing? Do you
Probably,
know? Like,
probably a fair chunk, like those banded E-speeds
Yeah,
that
yeah,
probably
with
just
you.
pick up, probably don't come back anymore, right?
yeah,
But Riley said,
exactly.
hey, I don't need that. I value the ability to switch moves a lot more because what would happen with Dragonite Shenpao is you'd end up locking yourself into like E-speed, Flutter Made would come in and you really couldn't do anything, or a Ghost type would come in, or they'd Terrad Ghost. Or you'd end up locking into Tantrum, but then all of a sudden you were Tantrum and you couldn't be fast enough to outpace things that were faster than you. So Riley basically said, I'm going to sacrifice some damage output and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to have a little bit more longevity because I'm AV now. And I'm also going to be able to switch my moves. And I think switching moves makes Dragonite far scarier than the banded version, only because like you can't just switch in a resistance and just sit there forever, right? Dragonite is actually able to do things and switch around. And then you don't run multi-scale here, Tommy, because I think if you go multi-scale, then you just get Intimidate cycled to death, and like that's way too much
Yeah,
pressure you
Yeah.
lose. So just not being able to get faked out, not being able to be Intimidate. The AV I think was more of a I'm not really trying to stick around for too long, but like I might as well use it as it does give me a little bit better longevity if I need it.
exactly. And like I think he has like a lot of other options. Like he has so much priority on this team with Sucker
So
Punch
much.
from
Gambit.
uh, Gambit, and then Aqua Jet from Urshifu, and then E Speed and Sucker Punch from Qianpao. It's just a team that like doesn't really have any speed control, but it doesn't need it because it's just so much priority that's doing so well. Pretty much
The
just cleaning
priority
up.
is the speed control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly,
Oh, you want to
exactly.
set Tailwind? It's fine. I'm still going to be moving first with both of my pieces next turn. It just doesn't matter.
Wait, are you? Haha, you're gonna attack? You know, it just comes
Yeah,
in with
no,
a sucker
not, no,
punch.
you're not. Nice try.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. All right, so now I want to open up a little bit more to talk about the other teams that did well.
Mhm.
So first, I think I want to let's give Sableye some props here. So in our last episode, we all made our predictions for Sacramento, and he made a call, and he made a great call saying that Baxcalibur would do well, and we see it here in the top four. Number three, Raghav used Snow
The
with
homie.
her
I'm built
and
different, Conk. What can I
did
say?
super well with it. So you wanna talk a little bit about that and what you thought about that team?
I'm just built different, okay? That's all I'm gonna say when it comes to these predictions. I'm built different. Now, if only I actually listened to myself and actually made some of these predictions for myself. But hey, besides the point, no. But honestly, I think it was a really good call for the tournament from Ragov. teams
Great
very
call.
similar teams also performed well in Lille as well. But
Mhm.
I think the secret to using the Bax Caliber and the Ninetales, specifically that combination, is making sure the team can function without relying on the Veil. Like, and I find that's where Grimmsnarl teams and all those like bulky screens teams and the setups behind screens lose value, is because your entire game plan is to set up a piece, get Veil up, and just sit there, right? And that kind of falls through the woodworks. But the team like Ragov's, it doesn't just set up screens and set up one piece, right? You have so many different cores. You have the Heatran, you have the Ogerpon, you have the balance core like the Lando, the Heatran, the Ogerpon. That alone can cycle games. Then you have the mode with the Ninetales backs if you need it. You can even go backs without the Ninetales because Bax Caliber is just a really good mod. And then Rillaboom, just to close some things off, is incredible. One last thing before that I want to point out was actually Magma Storm on Heatran.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. Go, go, go.
I think what Ragov was trying to do here was say, hey, balanced teams love being able to switch around and get into position. The moment you take that away from a balanced team, all of a sudden you become the balanced team and you start you let the English is a broken language. All of a sudden
Everyone
you
forgets
become the
he's
balanced team.
Canadian, He doesn't speak real English, so no, just kidding. Go ahead.
And
Okay. Like, you take away their ability to switch, all of a sudden it gives you one less thing you have to worry about, and you can potentially easily pin people into bad positions, you know? Oh, they're going to switch in Lando? I'm a Magma Storm, I'm going to keep the Lando locked in on the field, and gone next turn. Oh, you're going to switch in your Iron Hands? I'm going to lock that in. And then on top of that, chip damage every other turn. It's just worth it, in my opinion. Like, yes, you lose value by not having the big damage. Yes, you lose value by the 75% accuracy. But I think Magma Storm in general, and just having that ability to trap something in a team that is, in my opinion, in this case, was built to kind of counter the balance direction that the meta was heading. I think Magma Storm was a very good call.
he was on Tub Takes, and I was in the chat like, how do you not go crazy missing the Magma Storms? Like, how many do you think you hit over the course of the 2 days? He said it was probably right around 75% accurate, but my team was just bulky enough to sit there
Yeah.
and not get punished when I missed
Yeah.
too much. And
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
something that's crucial too.
Yeah.
Like if you and he had the second fire move. He had Heat Wave
Yeah.
and Magma Storm.
Yep.
The-
And it's
Yeah.
if he
and that's
missed
what
the
you
Heat
do,
Wave on the period though.
right? And it's the same concept. I think there's a lot of things like over the years, right? Like you had hypnosis, Gothitelle over the years, and people are like, why are you clicking hypnosis? It's sleep powders the same way, right? How many of these are you missing over the tournament? It's not a matter of how many you're missing. It's more along the lines
you
of
hit
the
'em.
pressure that it adds when you're in a
Mhm.
position that you can be okay if you do miss, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm calling a
Yeah.
switch anyways, right? If I miss a Magma Storm, is it really the end of the world? Depending on the game state, it might not be. So what's the reason to not click it, right? Same with like sleep powder and saying it's all those things that put that pressure on that might not necessarily be the end of the world if you just miss the move, you know?
Yeah. No, agreed. Totally agree. And I mean, like you said, like the chip damage really
Yeah.
adds up against like those like bulky screens mons that are just gonna like sit there and set up
Yep.
on you over time because like it can be hard to get like actual damage down on those things by just hitting moves, but like
Mm-hmm.
that chip damage is consistent.
Yep.
It's gonna do the same amount each turn and it's stuck in
It's
there,
one
so
eighth. It's 1/8 or 1/16 damage.
1/16, I
I
think.
want to say 1/16 as well. I don't think 1/8 is a lot. I
Yeah,
don't think
one
it's
That's
eighth
what I
is
was
1/8.
gonna say.
and I'm pretty sure it's not too much damage, but it's still like
I think it's yeah.
it adds up over time, you know? It counteracts lefties, stuff like that. So like it's good damage. Um, Another
Yeah.
team that I think I really want to call out, so a friend of mine, Brian Collins, pulled up
Oh yes.
with Psy Spam, so I'll send that over to Tommy Trickle over there to
Boo.
what his
Boo. No,
team.
I'm just kidding.
And
I'm just kidding.
he
I'm
went
just kidding. I
8 and
love
0 at a
Brian.
local. He went 8 and 0 at a local yesterday. He went 8 and 0
Yeah,
at a local yesterday.
and
Shout out
so
Brian Collins, the best size band player in the world. Oh my god, I love Brian. Can you put this picture in the podcast right now? I'll send it to you later, Sableye. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
picture I want you to put right
Yeah.
here and say, shout out Brian, you're awesome. But no,
I'm
for
gonna
real.
pause you for 1 second. I'm gonna pause you for 1 second because I forgot to mention this. So one thing that happened in day two was that Brian had nicknamed his
Yes.
Gallade as Cerulege. and had forgotten that that was a rule that you can't do. So they took away his
Yeah.
Ceruledge all of day 2.
He's
So
late.
with a 5-mon team, he was able to make
He
top
top
cut
cut.
and was 1 play away from making it to top 4. Just insane. All right, so now I'll throw it back to you, Tommy. I need to add that context.
Brian's amazing. So he has the Urshifu. He has the Helping Hand DD mode. He has the Ursaluna. He has the Torkoal and the Armorage. He only used Gallade in certain matchups. He dropped Hatterene for Gallade because he said, I'm not going to see a lot of Amoonguses. Like, look at the tournament right now. Like,
Yeah.
at the top, there weren't as many. It was Riley. Riley was the main Amoonguser.
Yep. And
So it
Alberto,
was
but
like-
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Alberto's always going to do his thing. But what's it called? It was just like really cool to see that archetype piloted by a player who got most of his points last year with like I think T-Tar Lycanroc, Indeedee Armorage, Dozo Tatsu. Like he got a good chunk of his points with that 2-2-2 team. He's been using Psy Spam so well. Like when he latched onto the team and we were talking before the regional, I was like, bro, you're gonna do really well with it. Like you kind of put it on the map at Beast Coast, but I don't think it's gonna do too well at Peoria. So hopefully, people won't have it on their radar as much. People will still prep into it, but it'll still be a good call for the tournament. And he showed it was. I
This is
think
Sacramento, by
Spam
the way.
piloted.
This is a heads up.
Oh yeah, no, but Peoria was before, right?
Yeah, Peoria was before, but this is the Sacramento results.
Yeah, exactly. So he saw in Peoria it didn't do. Who was the highest placing Spam player?
Yeah, well, I
No
don't.
clue.
I
It
don't
wasn't.
think it
It wasn't too
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was like it was off the map a little bit. If it had done well at Beast Coast, well at Peoria, then Sacramento, it would have been harder for him to do
Yeah,
what he
agreed.
did. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
That's why he was looking at those results prior to Sacramento. And was like, yeah, man, okay, I think I could do really, really well. And he did. And
Yeah.
again, I think Spam piloted by a good player who knows the ins and out, who practices with it, who's been grinding games with it, is scarier than someone who picks it up as a meta call. And someone who picks it up as a meta call isn't going to read the hard switches as well, isn't going to be able to like pivot and know when to do the things they need to do to make the team work as well. Because you have 4 turns, you can't make mistakes.
I
If you
agree.
get stalled out of trick, you're done. So it's really interesting to see, and that's why I think Brian's like one of the best, if not the best, Spam player in the world right now. I will put that anywhere. Say like go.
Yeah.
I love Brian. I love this team. I love this result.
Just
And I wish he had Glade too.
all I'm gonna say is on the topic of where you were going at with like it takes a really, really good player to just pilot this Trick Room team, and I think that's the difference in a lot of teams. Like a good player can become on top, but like with Trick Room, it's a very linear game plan most of the time, right? It's I'm gonna find a way, I'm gonna get my Trick Room up, and I'm gonna go from there. And it's easy to pick up because of that, right? It's easy to say, oh, I can see my line is get Trick Room up and go. But finding, as you mentioned, someone that can actually recognize different ways to get Trick Room up, different ways to maneuver what your opponent. Not only that, but not only how can you set it up, but what is your opponent wanting to do to stop it? Yeah. And I think that's what takes Spam and that Trick Room mode to the next level. And Brian has definitely been doing that over the past little bit with this team.
To that point, Brian was the only Spam player A2 Sacramento.
Yep. Exactly.
Next closest one was rank 43. So, yeah, just really, really cool to see that. And I think so when you look at tournaments and stuff like that, I think most of the time, most of the time balance is gonna win, right? Balance is really good, but because generally, the top players gravitate towards balance because it gives you a lot of options. But there's also, I think, more of like a niche group of players that play other archetypes super well, like Len, who got second twice at regionals last year with Hard Trick Room.
Did you see his shoes?
His shoes? No, I didn't see his shoes.
His shoes? What's that even mean? I'm kidding. I didn't tell you. That's like what?
But,
I love this
and then
podcast.
obviously Brian Collins, other players like that. So, and then obviously there was also Dozo comps I want to get to, but first I'll let Tommy talk about Len's shoes.
Sure. What?
I'm curious now. I don't know
this podcast continues to surprise me, guys. Okay, like we're supposed to sit here and analyze like the metagame and what's going on. Tommy's
I
like,
found the picture of me and Brian.
Okay,
us in
I'll
Japan.
Tommy, send it to me.
I love
I'll
that.
properly put that one on the screen.
Yeah.
And then
I'll have
I'll-
these ones
let me
properly up
get-
on the screen for you guys. If you guys are listening, switch over to YouTube real quick and see these when you guys get a chance. But
You haven't seen his shoes?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Are they better than my Snorlax forces though?
Oh, yo, they're Armorage and DD. Oh, they're like custom
Okay,
made.
those
That's
are
actually pretty
sick
cool.
shoes.
That's actually pretty
Those
heat.
are really,
That's
those are
pretty
really
heat.
sick.
Yeah, Tommy, send those to me. I'll throw them up on the screen if you guys are watching from YouTube. But it's pretty
I
heat.
retweeted it.
Those are pretty sweet. Okay, so we had the snow team that did well, that Sable I called out. We had the Psy Spam that was Tommy's kind of niche, and now I want to talk about Dozo because there were two Dozo teams that were not 2-2-2, but that
Snow
did
Dozo,
super.
baby.
Also, it's
Well,
back.
there was a
Again.
few Dozos. There was a few Dozos in top 30 or in day two, but there was one that did one comp that did really well, which was used by two players, Lexar, which is Alexander de Andrea, and then Marcus Dion, or known as Strider. He got 24th, and Lexar got 10th. And it was with Glim Dozo, so bulky Dozo behind screens with um, Ninetales with Aurora Veil, Glamora, Ogerpon, and Iron Hands. And I think it was a super good call.
Yeah.
To the meta. It was really good into opposing Dozo teams, really good into a lot of the balance comps where you could just because it's interesting because I had played Dozo back in like Reg C and stuff, and Reg D I was like testing it out and it felt not too great because Cresselia was really around and you could just Lunar Blessing away the poisons and stuff like that, but Cresselia has really fallen off the map a bit. And so there was none of that, and Amoonguss has fallen off the map, so there's not a lot like of bulky poison or mons that can help with the toxic spikes. Toxic poison mons are just not really used right now. So the toxic spikes and the mortal spin was just super good call, and then just being able to sit behind screens, sub up, get some consistent chip damage over time, and they were attack boosting order up. So we're consistently you didn't care about the
were.
intimidate as much because they could go behind a sub, they can go for an attack boost. So really good call. I think like we're gonna see a lot of Glimdozo. I think and Spam I think are two comps that I think are gonna be really strong moving forward. And I think I'm curious to see how people will counter that at Toronto. But
Yep.
I want to transition us now to the regional that just happened in France.
Can I
in
cut you off
Lille.
for 2 seconds, Conk? There's one other
Yes.
thing I want to talk about real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Huge shout out. We finally have since day 2 has been introduced, we have our first player to ever go 14-0.
Oh yeah.
Which I definitely wanted
yeah.
to shout out for that because I think going 14-0 is kind of crazy.
No fault.
And shout outs to Andrew Ding for going 14-0 through day 1 and day 2. Like, that's absolutely incredible. Just for those that you don't know the team, it is Fluttermane, Landorus, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Fire, Torn, and Water Earth. And imagine losing one set of Pokemon the entire weekend, and it just happens to be the top 8 set.
Crazy and just an unprecedented level of play by Andrew Ding,
Yep.
who's historically one of the best players the game has seen, and just
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
insane run. Should be like insanely proud of that. I don't know when we'll ever, like see that again. It's
No, you don't want.
incredibly hard to do in the game with.
You'll see it this weekend at
RNG
Toronto.
with
I'm doing it at Toronto.
Let's go! Ah! Who do you
We
think
might
you
see
are?
Sable do it Toronto.
I am not doing it at Toronto, guys.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you
for
are.
sure, for sure. But incredible run by Andrew Ding. Now I want to go to Lille finals and kind of set this up in a context of this is actually really interesting because we saw the West Coast regional in Sacramento, and West Coast is kind of known a little bit to have some weird regionals in terms of like people bring their weird teams. We saw that with T-Tar with Como winning and some interesting comps that along the way, right? This is a very different story. This was balance, pretty much to the max. We saw some a few like variations. We saw Glimdozo in top 8, Eric Rios, with the T-Tar and Como
Yep.
at 10th, but really balance heavy. So curious on your guys' thoughts from that finals and congrats to Simone and Vito,
Yeah.
also known as SanVVGC. Um, and before I throw it over, I think like you guys need to see his tweet from a few months ago after Worlds. It's one of the best tweets I've ever seen. Um,
I'll link it
but
in the description. It'll be on the screen. You guys will see it.
I'll read it out to you guys real quick because I just like
It's so
I
funny.
think I'm gonna retweet this every single time I do poorly at an event. But a few months ago after Worlds, he tweeted, "I feel really bad for my mom that had to go through 9 months of pregnancy just to have a son that's so unbelievably, I'll just say bad at a children's video game, even though that's not what the word was. Hilarious, and people are quote tweeting it and
Yep.
retweeting it because now he is a regional champion. So incredible, incredible performance. But curious on your guys' takeaways from that regional.
Yeah. Just one thing I do want to point out is Sanvi's been playing this game for as long as I've been playing this game, if not longer, and I'm pretty sure they've won stuff before as well. So I would be
Okay,
shocked
okay.
if this is their first regional win. I would be like full on shocked. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it is their first regional win, but like they've
I
been
do
around
think,
forever, and I
yeah, I do
recognize them
think he
as
has
a good
quite
player immediately. So it's crazy though because you see these players, right? Like I was at my local this weekend, right? And it was the Saturday, and I'm like, yo, Miguel Marty Delator is playing. He's doing well, and like everybody at my local is like, who is this? And I'm like, I don't know. He's been around for forever. Like, this is like these are the top players that like when I learned the game, these were the players that were like at the top, you know. So seeing them do well again is absolutely incredible, right? It's like it just goes to show you, like good and consistent play can really adapt to any format if their mind and attitude towards the format is actually like driven. Like if your mind is driven at the game, you're gonna be able to do well, right? Like
Yep,
anyways,
for
but
sure, for
the
sure.
one thing, the big thing, and one of the only things I really think that like shows from Lille, you guys can tell me if I'm missing something. But once again, Torn Ursh still on top. It is a team that if you do not have dedicated answers towards, dedicated game plans towards, it is going to steamroll you. And simply because of that, it is by far one of the best teams in the format. You can pair it, you can throw
Yeah.
Torn Ursh to close off any form on core you really want, and it's going to add to that team. It is probably the team or the core of two to beat, if you ask me, moving forward at events.
Well, it's actually interesting because so there were quite a few water Urshifu that which had fallen off a little bit. Not obviously off the
Yeah.
map, it's just too good, but it had fallen off a bit because of the pick rise in usage of water Ogerpon, but not a lot of water Ogerpon in the top. I mean, there is I think three in the top 16 here.
Aaron Birdie's was water, right? Or
Yeah,
was he fire?
he's water.
Yeah, so he has
His team,
one.
I love his team. Shout out Taryn. He's a homie too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like it's interesting because water Ogerpon, like if you tear water, it's really good against water Urshifu and Torn. But not a lot there. So water Urshifu was able to kind of run wild and um really had a good performance in this regional. The thing I want to point out is Chien-Pao Dragonite
Yep.
really, really good in this tournament. Had a
Yeah.
lot of good placings. I think again, just showing it's an extremely strong place right now, and because of that, Farigiraf was actually able to get second. Just has the curse of second place, I guess, but really strong just by its presence alone. It's not doing much on the field, which is kind of like the drawback, and that's why we don't see a lot of it. But by a player that knows how to, utilize it well. The ability's so strong against Grassy Glide spam right now, against all that, Riley's team that we just saw get second place at Sacramento. Priority spam kind of goes out that window when you have and I'll kind of talk a little bit for me. I faced Friggraphs at Sacramento, which was really bad for my POW night.
Yep.
So hate seeing that mon, but piloted well, it can be a useful mon to have because of that ability.
I agree. And I think this has been brought up in the past. I'm not sure if it was us on the podcast or some other conversation that I've been having. It's not a mon that you can just slap on a team and say, "Oh, I have a
Yeah.
Pound Night matchup." It's a mon that you really have to be consistent with and really understand how it works to actually have success with it. And but you can see that when you actually understand how it works and there is success to be had with it. It got second, it got 12th, right? It is a very
Mhm.
good mon, a little
I
carried by its ability, but it can be scary if it's played properly, and I think that was shown here.
Brian Young was
Funny.
using it at a PC he won this weekend.
Yeah, that's
And he
because
was like,
he
yeah,
lost a
no.
bet. Had to use it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
And he faced against Pow Knight, so it ended up working out for him.
I didn't realize he lost a bet. I just saw the team. Oh my god.
No,
that's really
Brian cannot stand for Rigor.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was funny. He was making a meta call using it. That just shows how good it was. But nope, never mind.
Yeah.
Uh,
Gothitelle? Yes, no, maybe. Gothitelle? We talking Gothitelle?
I like
we can talk
Gothitelle.
Gothitelle. Yeah, I actually lost to Gothitelle in the PC this past weekend, which is really funny, in the finals. But Gothitelle is interesting. I think it's an interesting spot. Another mon where it's carried by its ability,
Yep.
right? And it's not
There
gonna
is a
do
lot
a
of
ton.
U-turn though. Like
What's that?
that's what's surprising about it. I feel like there is
Yeah,
a lot of U-turn.
Right? But
but it's
it
you can be
forces
faster and
you
just pick up
to
more,
U-turn.
you know?
It's similar to Magma
Yeah.
Storm, the way I look at it, right? It's Magma Storm,
Yeah.
the ability that now can't miss and has support options for the rest of your team. It is a very good ability. It is a very good mod. Gothitelle has done well at Worlds in I think like almost every format that it's been legal in outside of some of like the restricted formats. But like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's a good mod. There is no doubt in that. It has a little bit bulkier stats than the Farigiraf, so it's a little bit harder to take off the field. And just the support it provides with like helping hand, trick room, fake out, right? It just puts
Yeah.
on so much more pressure. And as I said before, and with the Magma Storm, the moment you take away the ability from your opponent to be able to switch, it makes the game so much simpler on your end. And it's the same concept here, right? Like you lead Dragonite Gothitelle, and all of a sudden they didn't lead a Dragonite Shenpao answer. Well, you just swap the Shenpao, and they can't swap, and you're blowing something up, right? It
Yeah.
You have ways to play this where it doesn't need to be led, it doesn't need to be Perish Song, right? You can use it as a hey, I'm gonna just be aggressive, and the moment you lead wrong, it's impossible, and because of that, it forces your opponents to lead to cover for it. And if I have to lead to cover for Gothitelle, what am I going to lead? As Tommy mentioned, maybe I'm going to lead my U-turn user. Maybe I'm going to lead my
Yeah.
Flutter Mane, right? And if you know I'm going to lead a U-turn user plus Flutter Mane, well, you're just going to bring the answers to the U-turn user and Flutter Mane, right? And then all of a sudden they're on the back foot right off the bat, right? And then just like that, you're kind of
It forces some awkward situations, like against like teams like Dozo, right, as well, and like teams like Indeedee Arm Rouge. Like if you can't get the Indeedee in, get the side spam, or like if you do lead Indeedee Arm Rouge, it's like okay, well they have Gothitelle, and then they can just switch in King Gambit or something like
Yep.
that. You know, like there's situations where it just becomes it forces some awkward situations. And one thing before we kind of move on to games and stuff like that, I can't believe I forgot this for Sacramento. I want to talk a little bit about Wheezing because
Yes.
that had a presence at Sacramento
yes,
and
wheezing.
had some cool text along with Wheezing. So
Alex
there was a
Underhill, the
play-
Wheeze King.
well, Alex Underhill did really well with it, and I actually faced him in Swiss and talked about it because we had faced a bunch on Showdown too. Cool team, very hard to face, at least with my comp, and clearly for everyone else too. Ended up bubbling at ninth, but he did really well with it. And then
Yeah.
there was another cool one that was on stream. Kyle Livinghouse had a
Twice.
week.
How did he? He was on stream
Yeah,
twice.
They've started.
He was on stream
They've
twice.
started doing fan votes, which I think is very
Yeah.
very cool. But I think they
Me
need to
too.
do the fan votes as show the teams that are going up against each other rather than the players. Otherwise, you're gonna get those players that have just already been on stream, or the players that are more
Yeah.
popular within the community, because those are the people that people want to see. But if you just show the matchups instead, people are picking the matchups, and they wouldn't necessarily know which player is which. But
Yeah, but
I hope I get
yeah,
picked through fan vote.
could happen. Could happen.
I would vote for you, Tommy.
I'd vote for you, Ryan.
Thank you.
If I see, wait. So how do I vote?
I don't
When
know.
I don't know.
when
Gotta
did
be
we
it's like
start
into
that?
Twitch chat or something. I don't know. Anyways, back to
When did I
Wheezing.
s-
Where were we?
Want to quickly talk about this because I don't want to run too long, but cool was the use of ability shield
Mhm.
next to Wheezing and also countering Wheezing. So next to Wheezing, Kyle Livinghouse was using Wheezing and ability shield Lando, so he could continue to cycle intimidates, not be affected by the neutralizing gas, which was super cool.
Mhm.
And then as a counter to Wheezing, the Dozo team with Lexar and Marcus used actually had ability shield Tatsugiri. The
Yes.
Dondozo combination
Yes.
would go off even if Wheezing was on the field, which was also a very cool adaptation.
Mhm.
So Very cool use of the new mon that got introduced, right, with Weezing, not introduced but is now back into the meta, and then Ability Shield, new item that did get introduced, so very cool. But okay, now I want to
Dude.
transition to the game, because I think we need to, there's a first an issue that we need your guys' help with. So we are struggling with the name for this game. We have a couple options, but we really want your help naming this. So we either have the usage stats game that has no name, which is a mouthful, but that's Tommy's current favorite. And then we have the top
makes me laugh
12
every
build,
time.
or the top 12 tussle, or
Tussle
the
or-
top 12 something.
Brawl,
we need
Scrabbit,
help,
Scrubble.
something.
Something.
So
We're
we're
also
gonna vote
interested-
out on Twitter.
Also
We
interested in
want
your
you-
opinions. So like, if you guys got any
Yes.
cool names for this, we're down as well.
Get 'em out. We need them.
It's time to
Yep,
name this.
yep.
It's time to name this game.
But it is
When can we
time
name it after
for
me?
this game.
If I win
We are
like 10
going-
straight,
If
Yeah,
you win
if
10
Tommy
straight,
wins this,
Tommy,
we'll just-
I'll tell you what. If
We're
Tommy, if you win 10 straight, I will name it Tommy's top 12 game. Okay? Are you happy? If you win 10
Yeah.
straight, you can have the name.
Well, since
Done and
Tommy
done.
is reigning champion, he is staying on, and Sableye will be going against him again, giving him another rematch.
I'm prepared
and we
this time,
have-
okay? I've got my notebook handy. I've got stuff. I've got the numbers written down. Well, not the like the
yeah, I'm
like
starting to
this
take
is
notes now.
just the 1 to
All right.
1 to
Alright.
12. I'm ready to go.
12, written
Yeah,
on
me
the
and
side.
Tommy, we're ready to go.
we're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep it on a clock. We're gonna keep this going. So,
Yep.
top 12 from day 2 at, or no, this is day 1 at Lille.
Day 1
Wait,
Leo.
we are using day
Day one,
one. So I got
Day one.
texted something.
It's fine, no
Should I
worries.
send-
I
No
think
worries.
you're fine. I really think. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So we are using day 1 usage. So our 12 mons here, top 12. Tommy is the rating champion, so he gets to start. Go ahead.
Oh. No, I kind of want last licks. Can Ryan start?
I'm fine.
You're the champion. I guess that's your. Yeah,
I'm fine
all right,
starting.
go ahead.
Yeah, I want last licks. All right,
All
Ryan,
right,
you
go.
go.
I'll go Iron Hands.
Iron Hands is for 1. It is up there. And for everyone, sorry, I forgot to clarify rules before. If you haven't heard the podcast and you haven't heard us playing this game, they're the
Thank you for
usage
joining.
stats for the top 12 mons in Lille, and also the usage numbers. And so there's 1 point for guessing the mon, and then 1 point for guessing the percentage within 2 percentage points. And if they don't get that, then the opponent has the chance to steal. So what is the usage percentage for Iron Hands?
53.
53 will give you the point. It is 54.9, so you're actually just in the 2% range.
And you said it was the number 1 used mon.
It is the number 1 used
Perfect.
mon, so that is 2 points right off the bat.
Right off the
for
back, Tommy.
Saber.
Come on, Tommy.
I'm
Tommy,
gonna go
to you.
Fluttermane.
Fluttermane is in the top 12.
I'm
What
gonna
is
go 51%.
51% is incorrect.
Uh-oh.
Sableye. It's a steal.
And you said it was number 2?
I didn't say yeah. I'm gonna hold off on that. I mistakenly kind of jumped the gun on it for the Iron Hands, but
Okay,
I
so
will-
if 51 was incorrect from Tommy's end,
Yeah.
that means it's either higher than 53 or below 49. Fluttermane, I want to say, was either second or third. It was going to be between that and the other one that I'm not going to say because I'm just going to... I want to believe that we have a decent chunk around the 50, a couple at 53 range. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to say 54 for Fluttermane.
54.3 is correct. So that is
Wow.
3-1 lead for Sableye, and it is back to
And he
you
got
to
the-
carry along.
Flutter was what, 2? Flutter was 2, right?
Yeah.
Flutter was 2. Flutter was 2. All right.
And it's back to me,
there
right?
are 10
And I'm up 3-1?
Yeah,
Back
never
to you.
get.
Back to Sableye, up 3-1.
So I'm just trying to keep the
Fancy
scorebook
book.
open on the side here. I'm gonna go with the other Pokemon that I was talking that should be up there too. I'm gonna say Landorus, because
Landorus Therian is not in the top 12. Just kidding, it is.
I was about to
It is
say,
up there.
bud. I was about to say.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Of course, it's in the top 12.
And
It is
I
up
also
10.
believe it's sitting right around the 50-ish mark. I'm gonna go ahead and say 52.
52 will get you the point. It is 53.8. So we have a 5-1 lead for Sableye over to Tommy.
Is
Wait,
that
Lando was the third.
Lando was
vote?
three,
Lando
right?
was number 3.
Yeah.
Lando was 3. Lando was 3.
53? You said?
53.8.
I'm gonna go Tornadus.
Okay.
I'm not.
Horn
No
is
messing
on there.
around.
Horn is on there.
Oh my god.
I'm in his head now.
Yeah, you're in my head.
The point.
I guess
for the second
51% for Fluttermate, and I was 2 off. I know it has to be lower than 53%. You're not giving the information on what number it is before we guess anymore. I like that though. I think I'm gonna go 51% again.
51% is incorrect.
There's no way it's that
Over
high.
You don't think
Steal.
so?
The problem is I don't know how low to actually go. Torn, I don't think it's as high as we all think it's gonna be. I'm gonna say Torn is around like a 43.
43 is also incorrect. You guys both overshot quite a bit.
I did say it was high. We think it's higher than it was.
30.9%.
Wow.
And it came in at
5th.
5th.
Okay.
So it is 5-2 in favor of Sableye. Back to you to guess them on Sableye.
I'm gonna go Ogerpon, and I know you're gonna need me to specify, so I'm gonna say water.
Ogerpon water is.
And I'm gonna go
That's a
ahead and
point.
say 28.
28 is incorrect. Tommy, the chance to steal and make up a little bit of this lead.
25%.
25% is also incorrect. You guys undershot this one. This one's at 38.7%.
So that
It
makes
was the
it
fourth one.
Yeah.
See, I was
6
hoping. I thought something else would be up there. God damn.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So the top 5 are off the board.
Board.
So now we have 6 through 12. Tommy, it's over to you. You're down 2-6.
Urshifu water.
Urshifu water is on there.
It's gonna be on
And
there.
what do we have for
25%.
25% is incorrect. Over to Sableye to steal.
Is
That's
it
a big
lower
range,
or
too.
higher?
No, we can't. We haven't.
Can't tell
No,
you.
I know,
no.
no. That's just me. Like, I'm talking to myself. I'm not asking. I'm talking to myself. Because I was gonna say right around 25 for that one as well.
Right? That's what I would think.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stay higher. I'm gonna go 28.
28.1% is
go.
correct. 7-3 in favor
And
of
it's the number
Sableye.
6 mon.
And it is the number 7 Mon. Over to Sableye for another Mon. We're halfway through the game, and Sableye's up 7-3.
You know what's crazy about this game? We've never been this top heavy with our guesses before, which I think is kind of
No,
wild.
ever.
Oh, you know, this is the fact that you guys got the top 5
Yeah.
first is kind of crazy. And almost did the top 6, but you got 7th now. So there's 6 and then 8 through 12 still.
Do I really want to throw the curveball in right now? I'll throw the curveball in right now. Heatran.
And is on there.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say Heatran is around 17%.
17% is incorrect though. Over to Tommy.
Do I think it's number 6 used? I don't. That means it's under 28%. It's not between 15 and 19. Oh,
I'm gonna need a
God.
number here.
I want to guess 25 again, but I feel like I've been guessing 25 for everything. I feel like that's too high. I'm going to go 22%.
22% is gonna get you the point. It is 24%. So exactly 2 points away. 24.0%. So it is 8-4 in favor of
What is the
Sableye.
number, Mon? What
That
is
was the
Mon?
number. That was the number 9 Mon. Now over to Tommy. You're down 4 points, so 2 points here would help you immensely.
You definitely need these points there, Tommy.
So I feel like this is cheating, but I brought this up before. I'm going to go Chi-Yu.
Yep, Chiyu is on
Yeah,
there.
valid.
You know the usage number.
I feel like it's probably under Heat Ran. How much under Heat Ran? I'm gonna go 18% because that's a pretty good range.
Percent is going to get you the point.
Oh.
It's 16.4%. Huge, huge turn for Tommy. It's the 11th most used Mon.
Oh wow! So we're missing 6, 8, 10, 12.
6,
We
8, 10,
hate
12.
even numbers here. Confirmed.
Yep,
And
6,
then
8, 10, 12.
To you said was
Score
what?
track
16%?
is gonna be
16.4?
16.4.
Okay.
And now it's 7 to 6.
No,
Usually
it
mine
is
goes
8 to 6. 8 to 6.
Oh, 8 to 6.
8 to 6,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
for those who want to see my notes.
We're getting to the nitty-gritty now, guys. I am going to
All right, here's
say I'm going to say my other sort of cool obvious one. I'm going to say Ogerpon Fire.
Ogerpon Fire is on there. Another point for Sableye. What is the usage?
I do want to I'm trying to figure out if it's above or below Earth. But I want to
It's
say
so hard to figure that.
I want to say it's below Earth. And I want to say like if I say it's below Earth and above Heatran, 26 gives me that point guaranteed. So I'm going to say 26.
26 is going to get you that point. It is 27.6. And it is the 8th most used Mon. So that is 10 to 6. Here's where we decide if Tommy's got the heart of a champion here.
He's got to climb back in it.
Sixth
I don't know
one,
why I wanted to go
one and the
second.
12th.
Why did I want to go second?
I do
Alright,
think it's
Tommy.
actually fair though that like Challenger gets to go first. I think that
Yeah.
that should probably
I
be
think
the
we'll
way we
keep
just
that.
do it anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Agreed. So we have 3 Mons left on the board: the 6th, the 10th, and the 12th. 6 points available up for grabs right now. So, well, very winnable by Tommy, but he's gotta start racking up these
You gotta
points.
clutch up. I gotta clutch up now. Okay. 6, 10, 12. What could the 6th most used Mon be that I haven't thought of yet? Chen Pao.
Chen Pao is on there.
How is on the board?
What is the? That's 10 to 7. Another point here.
29%? 29%?
29%.
Is it number 6?
That is incorrect.
Oh,
Or
so
to
I basically
Sableye.
gave him the game.
Okay, so if it's not number 6, I have to guess now if it's 10 or 12. I don't think it's 12. I think it's a little higher than 12 because Pao seemingly is still a very good Mon. I don't think it's going to be the 12th Mon. My guess is going to be Pao. I'm going to say 19. I'm going to split the difference.
19% is going to get you the point. It is 17.6% usage. It is the 10th most used Mon. We
I'm
have
missing number
2
6 and
Mons
number
left.
12.
We have 2 Mons left, 6 and 12. He is down by 4, so he needs all 4 of these points.
points.
So Sableye can get
I can get
one
if
Mon
I
here.
guess the Mon. I basically you're saying I win if I get this Mon.
Yeah, you win if
You
you
get
guess
the
them
Mon,
on.
you have dethroned Tommy, and he no longer is in contention to name this
Oh.
game top 12.
What Mon? Have we not said? Okay, I'm gonna take. It's a bit of a wild card, but I think it's probably accurate. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Rillaboom.
Rillaboom is on the board.
Let's go.
And we'll play it out.
Play it out,
but
though, 'cause this is fun, right?
what's the percentage?
I do think Rillaboom only barely snuck on there. I don't think it's nearly as good as it used to be. So I'm gonna say it's probably sitting around 13%.
13% is incorrect. I mean,
29%.
29%. It's 28.9%. So that's gonna
Okay.
get you the point. It was the 6th most used Mon.
Wow.
And now Tommy, to guess the last one and put you're down 4. So win is out of question, but he can at least salvage.
Yeah,
salvage
make it
the
a little
game,
closer, but come on.
Get down by 2.
I quit. No, I don't know. Who could it be?
It's a tough one.
I don't think it's Dragonite, but I feel like that's not a bad guess. I don't think it's Farigiraf. I feel like that is a bad guess. I don't think it's Urshifu Single Strike.
I have 2 guesses that I could possibly be. Other than that, I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think it's King Gambit.
I'm gonna need a guess.
What other ruin haven't I named? It's Chiyu, Chen Pao.
It's definitely not another ruin there, Tommy. Forget about the other 2.
King Lu, that would be a bold pick, but maybe it'll pay off.
No.
Who knows?
I think I know what it is, just based on what's been said.
I mean, I'm gonna have to give you another 10 seconds here.
I don't think it's Iron Bundle. I'm gonna go Arcanine. Hisui. Arcanine Hisui.
That is the correct answer.
And that's exactly where
No way.
that's exactly where I was gonna go. Hisui and Arcanine.
And then can you guess the usage to make it a 2-point loss?
2-point game. Okay. 14%.
14.9%.
Yep.
Final score: Sableye,
12
the
to 10.
new champion, 12 points, and Tommy with 10 points. He has been dethroned after a 2-game win streak.
Tommy, this is
And
what you
I
get.
will be-
This is what you get for saying. This is what you get. I'm not gonna win. Let's name it after me. Let's name it after me. The guy says.
I like
What a-
naming stuff after me. Sue me. Sue me. If you leave me to name something, it's probably gonna have Tom in it. Look at everything I've named.
All right, good game, Tommy.
This is only Sableye's second biggest win of the week, with Toronto coming up this weekend. So we
Bro,
will
I'm
see.
about to get slaughtered at Toronto. Let's calm down.
You used all your luck
But
here.
Yep.
as we kind of wrap up, I want to hear. Let's make our Toronto predictions.
Yep.
So any big bold prediction for Toronto? It could be a Mon, it could be a player, it could be an archetype, something. I want to hear a bold
Wait.
prediction.
Time out. Before we go on to that, we only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We didn't get any guesses wrong.
No,
No,
yeah,
we
no
we
guesses
did
wrong.
not miss him on.
We didn't
Did
miss
not
them
miss
on.
one.
Like we didn't
It's
get
usually
them
like
on
the
that wasn't
12th
on the
one.
list.
It's
Usually
the
we go
12th
back
one
and
that
the 12th one's like takes a few guesses before we get, but we didn't miss one. That's crazy.
I
Yeah.
realized that because my notes were the same length as the actual top
Yeah.
12.
Yeah,
Yep.
impressive.
I was like, wait a
It's a run.
second. What? That's kind of impressive. I had 2 extra spots written down. And bold predictions for Toronto. Can I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
I think Glimdozo top 8s. I think how many do I get? No, I think Glimdozo top 8s, and I think Wheezing will be prevalent in day 1, but will fall off a bit for day 2 and only be piloted by a few players.
Okay.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
respect it. Conk, you
You
got
took my
anything?
mind.
Or do you want me to go?
You can go. You can go.
Okay. I'm a big fan of trying to do like player predictions. Just because like
Okay.
maybe not like prediction here, but I definitely want to say like player to watch sort of thing. And I think my player to watch for this one, I mean it's kind of an obvious one, but it is going to be Abdullah, which is going to be Sempra, the online handle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's my player to watch
Guaranteed
coming
gold.
into this tournament, guys. They have only ever not won one tournament, and the only tournament they did not win was Worlds, and they got
Was
top
World.
8. So,
Yep.
if they can somehow continue that tear, which I fully believe that they can, that would be crazy. I think that's. I definitely think we're gonna see them at the top tables for a lot of the weekend. Also, can I really say something like kind of like I don't know. I want to see me versus Abdullah finals, guys. Come on, let me see the run back.
Love
I
it.
want the run back.
Love it. Love it.
I want to
see
run it back
I
in
wanna
finals.
see it. All of
Oh my
Canada
God, I
wants to
love
see it. Can't wait.
I think all of Canada wants to see it.
And we definitely want to see it. But my bold prediction will be that Psy spam will be really prevalent in day 1 and will not make it out of day 1. We will see at most 1 Psy spam in day 2,
Wow.
maybe 2, but
Okay.
it's really not going to do well. But I think a lot of people are going to bring it as a call for day 1. So that's
And I
my
don't think they'll
prediction.
be able to pilot it well.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people that, because I think it's kind of good right now, but I also think that it's going to require those really top players to play it for it to actually do well, and I don't think they're going to be bringing it to day 2 and everything like that. So
I won't be
that's
there.
my
Brian. I don't know if Brian's gonna be there. He's a
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
guy.
who knows?
he's
Yeah.
he's in California, so it might
I
be a
don't
far
think
one
Glenn's
for.
gonna be there. I don't think Jin's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
All
other
the side
side
spam
spam
is
killers
falling
are there?
off.
There's
I
a
don't
couple
know.
of side
Tom's
spam
not gonna
killers
be
that I'm
there.
not
So
naming, and I'm sorry to you guys. There's a lot of side spam killers out there, but the ones I've been talking to aren't going.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to see. Very excited to see what happens, but that is it for us this week. Excited. Please watch out for Sableye in Toronto this weekend, and hope you all have a great time participating at any locals, PCs or anything like that, MSSs that you got, or Toronto.
Yes.
Good luck to all competitors. And we will see you again in 2 weeks.
See you guys.
Love you.